guys, good morning, good afternoon, hopefully before good evening, but hey, you never know. So today I decided to do our video of a screen capture so you can see in the background. You could still see my screen, and I'm going to allow you guys to see in a second because there's some things in Amplify that I thought it would just be better if we could do it together. And so I'm going to run through a few things in Amplify. Most of today's assignment before Amplify will be you having a Google class discussion, and I'll get more in depth about that and what I expect you to do in it. And after you do your Google discussion, you will follow the link into Amplify, and you will do the assignments, finish them off because I'm going to go through them with you. And then after your assignments, you have a self-assessment. The self-assessment, because this is our last lesson, so it's just, all it is for you to tell me if you understand what we've talked about thus far enough for us to move on. And I don't want you to lie, and I don't want you to cheat. I'm not going to grade you on it. This is strictly just for me to see if we can move on to the next chapter, or if I think there's maybe a couple things we need to go over, and maybe I need to have some one-on-ones, to go over a few things, or maybe as a whole class. The self-assessment is really just for me to see where we're at and if I can move on, or if I need to do a better job at teaching you guys a couple more things. Okay, so right now I'm going to jump back onto my computer screen, and you are going to see that right here I am amplified, and this is your warm-up, and I wanted to discuss your warm-up with you guys. So in your warm-up, you receive a letter, and in this letter, it is from Andrea Mosley, from the Natural History Museum director, to the student paleontologist, which is us. Remember, we are paleontologists right now, and our subject is new findings about the mystery fossil. So this is really exciting because we have been trying to figure out where to place this fossil in the museum. We have 3 claims going on right now based off of its bones. We've figured out that it is closest to wolves, whales, and crocodiles. So we're kind of all over the map on what it's closest to. So new findings are going to help us figure out are going to help us place this a little easier. So let's go ahead and read this letter together. We have finished putting the bones of the mystery fossil back together, and we found something amazing. The mystery fossil was pregnant, and it died. It was pregnant when it died. A smaller fossil with structures just like the mystery fossil was found inside the body of the mystery fossil. I know you are working to decide where to place the mystery fossil in the museum, and that you are using similar structures to help you decide where to place it. Maybe the fossil we found inside can help you decide what the mystery fossil is most similar to: whales, wolves, or crocodiles. Alright, and so then we're going to discuss this a little bit, and when we come back and put the discovery that the mystery fossil was pregnant tells us that the mystery fossil came from a species that gave live birth. What do you know about how whales, wolves, and crocodiles carry their babies? So on your piece of paper right now, I want you to write this down. I want you to tell me which of the 3 species gives live birth, and which of the 3 species lays eggs. So you're going to write that down. I want you to pause the video and go ahead and write down your answer. Do wolves lay eggs or give live birth? Do whales lay eggs or give live birth? And do crocodiles lay eggs or give live birth? So pause the video right now. So I'm assuming that you hit play, and now I'm going to tell you the correct answer, and so you have to, you guys are going to show me your papers, and so you should have your answer, and then underneath your answer, I want you to write Mrs. GD's correct answer, and it might be exactly what you said, and that's totally fine. I want to be able to see that you wrote it down before continuing on in the video. So the correct answer is wolves have live births, whales have live births, and crocodiles lay eggs. So now that we have now that we've given this information, we see that whether a species gives live birth or lay eggs is something that is passed down from the ancestors' population. Okay, so they just told us that it gives a live birth, so that's something that we have to think about and think about where it comes from in the ancestor population. Just like body structures are passed down, in fact, special body structures are passed down to allow egg layers to lay eggs and to allow organisms to give live birth. These kinds of body structures are not always bone structures. So we've been talking a lot about bones right now in this chapter, but now we're talking about just straight body structures, right? And so as we've seen, there are many other kinds of body structures. For example, some of our body structures allow some organisms to produce milk, as we saw in the article, How Are You Like a Blue Whale, right? So it showed us, remember in our tree diagram, we saw that it showed the whale, and then it showed the human, and then it listed the things that we had in common, and it had one thing that we didn't have in common. But one of the things that we had in common was that we both have parts in our body to help produce milk, which is for our young, because we both give live birth. So I need you to think about that. And in our Google Classroom, after this video, I want you all to participate in a class discussion. And so we are going to use the comments under the assignment, right? So just like in the very first assignment that I gave you about the Zoom rules, how I said to leave a comment, some of you sent me private comments, and that's fine. In this specific one, I want you to make sure that you are leaving a comment that everyone can see. So make sure that it's underneath the assignment. And I want you to discuss if finding out that the fossil we need to place having a fetus inside of it changes any of our claims. So right now our claims are that our fossil is related to either a whale, a wolf, or a crocodile. And now we want to say, okay, are all of these claims still true? Does our evidence still match all three of those? Does this give us more information and bring us closer to placing the fossil, or does it do the opposite? Does it bring us further apart? Does it give us more questions, like questions that maybe add more claims? I want us to have this discussion before you do your Amplify assignments, because it's going to help you make sense of these assignments, okay? So after the video, make sure you go to Google Classroom. I will post these questions that I want you to answer. And when you are in Google Classroom, everyone must make one comment and reply respectfully to at least 2 other comments. So a total of 3 comments. So you're going to put your answer to the questions, right? So your opinion, does it help us get closer to placing it, or does it bring us further apart? Does it still go with all 3 claims? Does it only match 1? Does it only match 2? Whatever you want to say. And then after you put yours, I want you to go and I want you to reply to 2 others, I want you to be positive and respectful. So maybe someone says something and you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. That is totally true. Or maybe somebody says something that you disagree with, which is fine, as long as you comment properly. Okay, maybe you can put a fact in. Well, we've also learned that blah, 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 blah. So maybe this might not be so true. Or I don't agree 100% because of this, okay? And that's, if people disagree with you guys, that is okay. That is part of being a scientist. It's actually good when people disagree, because it makes us think and it makes us wonder what kinds of facts can we figure out to make them believe, or to figure out if we are actually wrong. Okay, so before we go to discussion, I want to show you guys how your modeling tool assignment is going to go. So as you can see, this is your warm-up. So after your discussion, you'll come in and you'll answer your warm-up, right? You'll click next activity. And then in your activity, you'll see it says students take live birth, blah, blah. So here are your 3 claims, and you are going to, where in the museum does this new fossil? So this is what we're discussing. This part, so section 2, is what we are doing in Google Classroom, okay? So you're going to go ahead and pretty much skip this one. Just click next activity. and then comparing the mystery fossils to whales and everything else. Let's see if I can get my computer to scroll. Okay, I don't know why it's struggling to scroll. Here we go. So you're going to see these images of all of the different fossils, and with these fossils, I need you to compare them and then answer the questions. Okay, and then predicting body structures. Here we go. Here's another thing. So I believe, okay, so this is your simulation, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to read the instructions. So it says goal, determine the relationship between the 3 species and predict structures of species A. Do, press each structure of the species A and choose the most likely appearance of the structures. So so you go right here to click shared structures. Okay, so you're given three species. You're giving an ancestor, and then you're given 2 different species. And they want to know what they have in common. So, and while you're in this, guys, if you forget how to do this, you can always read the instructions, okay? So press each structure of species. Use the blue structure to indicate the species A has the structure. Use an X to indicate that the species A does not have the structure. Use a gray structure. Okay, so I want to make sure I don't do it for you. So go away. How do I get out of the instructions? Okay, so you can see here that we have these 3. And so what it wants you to do is it wants you to click these little things, and it wants you to tell it if it does have, if these 2 species does have it, if it doesn't have it, or if you're not sure if it has it, okay? So you're going to pick one, and you're going to do that for each one. Now the way that you're going to do this is you're going to look at the ancestors' species that come off of it, okay? You're going to look and you say, okay, now I'm looking at the spine, do they both have spines? Okay, yeah. And then you're going to look, okay, they both have skulls. And so you're looking to see if they both have. If they both have it, then you know that it has it. If only one has it, then you might not know. If neither one of them has it, then it probably doesn't have it. I hope that makes sense, okay? So you're comparing. Remember, if they both have it, the ancestor does have it. If they don't, if neither one of them has it, then the ancestor did not have it. And if only one of them has it, then you're not sure if it has it. And then make sure you're going to click the blue link and you're going to put, is this the common ancestor population or is it the descendants? That has to do with you knowing about how to read a tree map, okay? And so I believe that is all that I need to cover with you guys. Make sure you do your self-assessments. So after this video, you're going to close the video. You're going to go to the Google Classrooms, and underneath the assignment in the in Google Classroom, you're going to leave your comments. Remember, you're required to have 3 comments. 1 that answers the questions, and I will post the questions so that you know what the questions are. And then 2 more of you responding to 2 other classmates. Okay, so if you're the first one, you might have to wait a little bit so that you can comment. But so you're gonna answer the questions in your opinion. Okay, you want to have your opinion. And then you're gonna go and you're gonna respond to 2 other classmates. And with that, you're gonna respond, and remember, we're gonna be positive and respectful, and everything is gonna be school appropriate. I don't want to have to make phone calls home. I don't want to have to give bad grades because you guys weren't listening to instructions, right? So you're gonna, again, you're gonna be positive, like, oh, I didn't think of this. this makes sense. If you disagree, you could say, I don't 100% agree with this, because if you disagree with something, you must tell why, okay? You can't just say, I don't agree with this. If you disagree, you have to tell me your reasoning. What's your reasoning? Is there something that we learned in this chapter? Is there something that you know of your own knowledge? You have to show your evidence, okay? That's part of being a scientist. We can't just make stuff up. And then after you finish your Google discussion, you are going to go to Amplify, okay? Just like always, you just follow the link. It'll take you to your assignment. And with that assignment, you'll do your warm-up. Remember, you skip activity 2 because that's what we did in Google Classroom. And then you go to the next activities, which you're comparing different fossils. And then you will do the simulation, which I explained to you how to do and what I expect you to do. And then you'll submit all that, and then you will do the self-assessment. Again, that is not graded. The self-assessment is for me to see if you fully understand what this chapter has been about. If I think everyone pretty much has a good concept of it, understands, common ancestor population, body structures, all that good stuff, understands that we're trying to figure out where to place this bones at, then we will move on to chapter 2 tomorrow. If I get it back and I think there's some gray areas and I didn't teach it very well, then I'm going to go back and I'm going to reteach it better, hopefully, and then we'll learn more and then we'll move on. Okay, guys, so go ahead and head over back to Google Classroom, have your discussion, and finish all your assignments. And I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Well, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay?